Thanks for tuning in for another D6 pack video. Today I'm going to be showing you another foam core insert that I designed. If you've been listening to our audio podcast, you know that Star Trek Ascendancy is one of the games that's been really hot between Todd and I lately. Travis hasn't actually played this one yet, but he says he's interested in it, so hopefully we'll get that to the table soon. But I recently, at Gen Con, purchased the first two player expansions for this game, the Cardassians and the Ferengi. And when I tried to put them into the base box, I realized that they weren't going to fit. So I had to design my own foam core insert, and I'm pretty proud of this one. So let me switch the camera around and show you what I did. All right. So on opening this up, we got all the rules on top, and then underneath you can see I've got pretty much everything separated out by faction, resources, and then like world expansion tiles. But one of the things that I wanted to do in creating this insert is that I knew this was going to be an expandable game, so I wanted to leave room in here to allow that expansion. So what I did was I made everything two-tiered, and underneath here you can see I still have room for one more faction, and then under these there's a whole empty tray which I could use for more factions or more space lanes, depending on what I want to do. But also I made these faction trays of the adequate size that they will fit into any of the expansion boxes. So each expansion box can hold 3 of these faction trays, or it could also hold this, fits in there as well. So all of the faction trays are designed pretty much the same way, so I'll just show you one of those to give you an example of what I did there. You can see on top I've got the planets and starbase tokens. I'm not actually going to use these starbase tokens because, as you'll see, I bought the models for each faction. And then there's the homeworld planet. We have all the cards, their faction trade agreement, the fleet cards, and then the advancement cards. And then underneath that we have the fleet ships and the starbase models, as well as the sliders for the player sheets in one container. Then we have all of the individual ships in one and the control nodes in another. And pretty much all of the factions are the same way. I had to make some of the sizes different just because some of the star bases are a little more bulky than some of the others. But for the most part, they all look the same. Then as far as faction sheets went, I left room to hold up to 10 in this box because that was implied as the max number. But that's what this area is for. And then underneath the faction sheets, we've got a space for all the dice. Again, I left room to expand that. The command tokens, again, room for expansion, and a little more empty space if there were something else that I at some point decide that I need space for. Underneath that tray, we have the cards. I just kind of split them into 2 decks. They can either be spread out on either ends of the table that way, or it just leaves a lot of room for expansion for more cards, if nothing else. And yet again, a little more empty space if that should be necessary. And then the planet trays are pretty much the same. I made 2 of them though, so that they can be placed on opposite ends of the table, so that everybody has access to the planet trays. And those have a space in between that allows you to get a finger in there so that you can pull those up. And then the last bit is the resource trays. And like the planet trays, I made those to where they can be spread out. So you have the resources of culture, research, and production, and then ascendancy tokens, and those can be placed at opposite ends of the table. And then underneath that, we have more resource trays, which hold all the control nodes and the warp tokens. And again, those can be spread out at opposite ends of the table. And some of this is a little bit of a snug fit, but it all has a place and there's room for more of it, so I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. I'm excited to see more expansions. I know they've already got the Borg expansion on the way. Some of the space that I've left open, I thought maybe those could fit into, depending on how much space that takes up, so we'll see what that looks like when it is released. Thanks for watching. So that's my foam core for Star Trek Ascendancy. Let me know what you think. You can contact me at any of our social media accounts at the Six Pack Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or feel free to email us d6packpodcast@gmail.com. I'm always interested in knowing what you guys think and trying to improve my foam cores in the future. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.